We've learned that sometime in January of 2011, Ronald E. Yager, who was the detective who originally handled the Koschman case, met with a high-ranking cop named Lieutenant Denny Walsh. We don't know where this meeting occurred or what was said, but what we do know is that the meeting involved the Koschman case, and it came after Tim Novak filed a Freedom of Information Act request about it. What we know now, of course, is that Richard J. R.J. Vaneco, a nephew of Mayor Daley, has pleaded guilty to manslaughter in that case. And this all comes, of course, as Mrs. Koschman, David Koschman's mother, has filed a civil rights lawsuit over her son's death.
The meeting occurs at the time that Walsh is trying to find Yager's original files on the case from 2004 because they're missing. While we don't know where or when the meeting occurred or what was discussed, we do know that about 6-7 months after the meeting, Yager's missing files show up in Walsh's house. This is significant because it actually establishes some sort of a link between the two investigations, the original police investigation in '04, in which the case was not solved or closed, and the 2011 reinvestigation in which the police finally did close the case by determining that Vaneco punched Koschman in self-defense, so there would be no charges filed.
It's also significant because, frankly, we didn't know about it. There's been a grand jury impaneled that indicted Vaneco. The special prosecutor in this case, Dan Webb, produced a 162-page report about it. While Webb mentions interactions between Walsh and Yager, there's no mention of this meeting. We learned about it through a Freedom of Information Act request we filed with the state's attorney's office. Coming up this week in the Koschman case on Thursday, there's a hearing in federal court scheduled where Judge Rebecca Pallmeyer is going to hear oral arguments regarding city and county motions to dismiss her case. So we're going to see lawyers for Nancy Koschman, we're going to see lawyers for the city of Chicago, all the police officers involved, and the Cook County prosecutors, and Vaneco himself, who is also being sued.
And the case does remain under investigation by Inspector General Joe Ferguson, who's been investigating the case nearly as long as we have, starting back in March of '11, to determine whether or not any of these police officers should or will be disciplined for their bungling of this case.